All right, everyone. It is 1 o'clock, and I am so thankful you all are here today. I know it's lovely outside, and I'm sure many of you want to be outside in this beautiful weather, but I am thankful you're here with me today to talk about. Oh, sorry. Just one moment. You're seeing notes and slides. Hold on. Just one moment. Let me stop sharing and share again. There we go. Is that better? Can we all see my, okay, great. I am thankful that you all are here today to talk to us, to be here about sleeping well and living well. That is our goal for our lives, right? Is to be better at our sleeping to make sure that we live happier and healthier lives. I'm going to be doing the presentation, obviously, and if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I will do my best to pay attention to the chat and answer your questions when they come in. If not, I promise to get to them at the end of the presentation. So today, well, first of all, before we get started, as always, I want to let you know that Borslow's Health and Wellbeing team is here to support you in cultural audits and strategic planning, alternative wellness solutions, live webinars and on-site classes, which I think are going to be happening soon, health fairs and on-site demonstrations. And we also would love to help you with coaching and behavior modification solutions. So please know that we are here to help you and assist you to have your employees live their best and healthiest lives. So on our agenda today is the importance of sleep, the stages of sleep. I want to go over what the different stages are and how they help you and why they're important. There are 4 stages of sleep. Ways to help you have healthy sleep habits, and how there is a cost of not getting enough sleep. This is actually, strangely enough, a very important topic for me, as I have a son who has narcolepsy, which is a neurological sleep disorder, and he has had it since he is 7. So I feel very well versed, although I'm not a doctor. I can pretend to play one today. No, I'm not. I didn't say that, did I? It's recorded. No, but I do know quite a bit about sleep, how it impacts us in our physical and mental well-being. And it is a very important topic to me. So I appreciate your letting me speak to you today. So first of all, what is sleep? Well, it's an extended bout of rest we do daily, thank God. And sleep is an active period. You are active. It's a period in which you are processing, restoring, and strengthening your mental and physical well-being. And that's why it's so important for us to sleep. It's our chance for our body and our minds to restore ourselves and get into those different phases of sleep so that we can live great, happier and healthier lives. And before I go forward, I want to ask you a question. I'm going to launch a poll here. What percentage of adults sleep less than 7 hours a night? And I would like you all to give me your 30%, 60%, 75%. Our society likes us to think that less is more when it comes to sleep. That is not the case. And I'm going to let you guys do a few more seconds of presentation. All right. Closing the poll in 3, in 2, in 1. All right, I'm going to share the results here. Guess what? 30% get less of average adults get less than 7 hours of sleep a night. And that is not good. I am glad that you all think it's 60%. Well, no, I'm not. I'm not glad that you think that. That is not good. I mean, the average adult needs more than 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. For those of us not getting that, it can definitely be harmful to our overall health. So I guess the poll is telling us that you guys think it's more people are not getting enough sleep. But hopefully that'll make us aware that it's important that we also in our environment change what people perceive sleep to be, that it's not lazy, that is something important to do. And it's just as important as eating well and exercising. And why is it important? Well, because an insufficient amount of sleep can lead to serious repercussions. I know this from living it with my son. There is definite attention lapses, reduced in cognition, delayed reactions, especially think about even when you're sleepy and you're driving, right? That reaction can be very slow. Mood shifts. I don't know about you, but when I don't get a good night's sleep, especially for several nights in a row, I'm not exactly somebody you want to be around with all the time. And it can definitely lead to health issues. It can lead to heart issues, and it can lead to overall obesity and things that obviously we don't want to have in our lives. And as I stated, adults between 18 and 64 need 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night, and adults over 65 need 7 to 8 hours a night. And as I stated, well, this is 35% of all adults in the US report sleeping on average for less than 7 hours per night. And I have to say that number, I bet, is skewed. I bet people would like to think that they are, Superman, and that they don't have to sleep more. So I bet it's even lower, or lower than that 35% of adults report sleepy. I bet it's like, I bet it's close to, it's less than that. So we have to know that sleeping is very important. And here's the statistics. Insufficient sleep has an estimated economic impact of over $411 billion each year in the US alone. Think about how it impacts our driving, our health, and our work capabilities. Drowsy driving is responsible for more than 6,000 fatal car crashes every year in the United States. Think about when you're tired. I just actually drove, believe it or not, last Friday all the way from West Virginia back to Boston in 10 hours. And my husband drove later at night, but I'm telling you, I missed an exit. I was very slow on my reaction time. And that's when I pulled over. There was no amount of coffee or anything that could help me stay awake. So we know that drowsy driving is very, very fatal. People with severe insomnia are 7 times more likely to have work-related accidents than good sleepers. So we're talking about, as you can see in the next bullet point, nurses working 12.5-hour shifts report committing more than 3 times as many medical errors than those working a normal shift of 8.5 hours. So, being sleepy is going to impact our work environment, especially if you're somebody who's working a machine or driving or doing something that obviously is not just sitting at a desk, but obviously that impacts your ability to work as well. Health issues that are related to the lack of sleep. Well, there's a higher risk for these certain diseases and medical conditions. As I mentioned, obesity, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, and of course, poor mental health. So again, I think we're getting the message that sleep is so important. Here are the stages of sleep. And this is important to think about because stage 1 is when we're starting to doze off. Stage 2, we're in for 10 to 60 minutes, not the longest. Stage 3, and the next slide will show you the different parts of the night and which, when you're hitting these. Stage 3 is a pretty deep sleep. That is when if somebody tries to wake you up, there is no way they're going to wake you up, or you might wake up but not even remember it. That is when our brain is in a deep, deep sleep. And the REM is your rapid eye movement, and that is the deep sleep where you are dreaming. It is a necessary stage of sleep. Most babies are in REM sleep for 50% of their sleep because it is such a restorative. Your brain is working and activated, but in a way that it's helping restore it and get it back to a semblance of normalcy. And the next, sleep cycles. So how do these work? So as you can see, where's my cursor? Here it is. So you fall asleep right here, and you slowly go into each level of sleep. And as adults, we spend about 20-30% of our time in the REM sleep. But this deep sleep, the deepest sleep, is non-REM right down here. And then we climb back up into this stage. And then as you can see, it's this slow, and then the non-REM sleep, as we start to end our sleep cycle of that 7 to 8 hours, we slowly start to come out of the non-REM sleep and slowly wake up. As you can see, the REM sleep is, as I stated, you are more awake, but it's actually one of the more restorative areas of sleep. In fact, For my son who has narcolepsy and many people who have sleep disorders, this REM sleep is really the crux of it. They don't get enough rapid eye movement sleep. And so they don't get restored. So they're in sleep. In fact, often they're in a deep sleep, but they're not hitting that REM sleep and getting that more restorative to the brain, activating and cognition and things, getting restorative. And if you ever seen a sleep study, of which unfortunately I've seen many, if you have any apnea or any type of insomnia or sleep, you're going to see this be like this jagged mountain, like where you're not even mountain. Well, I guess, yeah, mountain, where you're in deep sleep, you're out, you're up and down, and you don't stay in any of those stages of sleep for longer than maybe a minute or two. And that's how they can decide, a sleep doctor can decide, oh, wait, this person might have some sleep related issues that we need to address. So if you're ever getting a sleep study or anyone you know, this is something you want to think about. I'm going to go back to, I want to go back to this stage to also show you the different minutes. So as you can see, when you're dozing off, as you probably know, it's not very long, right? Well, then we get into this stage 2, which is okay and slow wave, but the biggest amount is that REM sleep that we're, or the stage 4 REM sleep, and REM sleep where we're spending the most amount of time. So that is important. So non-REM and REM sleep, those stage 4 and rapid eye movement are the most important. Well, they're very important for our restorative well-being. So that's all great, Kim. So how do I get better sleep? I don't know about you, but I'm 56. And as I've aged, I used to sleep like a rock. And as we get older, obviously we have more stress in our lives. Things are happening. Things keep us awake. Our melatonin, different levels in our body as we're going through, for us women, through menopause. Can cause our sleep to get disruptive. So the best thing we can do and what we can control is to create a sleep-inducing bedroom. And what does that mean? That means not having a TV in your bedroom, or if it is on, do not keep it on when you're getting ready to go to bed. Optimizing your sleep schedule. So I put it in. I have a thing in my phone, a warning that says, hey, an hour before you're going to bed, and it starts getting me cued to start wrapping up my evening, and crafting a pre-time bed routine. So what I like to do is 30 minutes before I'm scheduled to go to bed, I get into bed with, try my best to throw the dang phone to the side, grab a book, because that helps me, whatever it is, a book, listening to music, anything of that nature to help you get into that calming method. There's breathing techniques, of which I'll go over towards the end of this presentation, as well as fostering sleep habits during the day. So we can get into a little bit about what that means. Well, actually, I'll just tell you, and then we'll get into a little further, but fostering sleep habits during the day is the more active you are, the more, and the more sun you get, the more fresh air, the better sleep you will have that evening. We say that to our kids, don't we? And then we don't heed our own advice. Creating a sleep-inducing bedroom makes also that you have a quality mattress, pillow, and sheets. I'm a huge proponent of really nice cotton white sheets. Avoid light disruption, meaning don't have blue light on. I actually have slept in the past with a mask on my eyes just to make sure that it's dark. Cultivating peace and quiet, again, not having loud noise on. My husband, God love him, loves to listen to the radio, like talk show at night. I don't know how he does it. I can't do that. I listen to calming music. Never have the temperature in your room very high. That's really hot, and especially us women, I think, can attest to that. Being hot does not bode well for a good night's sleep. And then trying pleasant aromas, lavender, things of that nature can help us calm down. So that's the objective as we're getting towards that evening sleep, to try and get into a place of calm. Another way to optimize that sleep schedule, I know this is hard, but on the weekends, waking up at the same time every day within an hour of your wake time. So if you wake up at 6:30 during the week, don't wake up at 9 on the weekends. It's going to perpetuate. You're not getting to sleep during the week. That schedule is so important. Budgeting time for sleep like you would for work, working out, for your kids' schedule, for whatever isn't, whatever you have going on, please budget time for sleep, set it in your phone. Be careful with the naps. Let me just launch another poll, because I have a poll on naps. And I am curious as to what you think. Is napping good for you? Is napping a good for you? Is a nap good for you? All right, I'll give you a few more seconds to answer this. I love what I see. That is awesome. Yes. Yay, you guys pass. Yes, napping is good for you. It's such a misnomer in our society that, we shouldn't nap. It's lazy. What I am going to tell you and what I have learned over the years, it's not a problem to nap. Just make sure it's not over 30 to 45 minutes. You start getting into that non-REM stage 4 sleep. And that actually is not, when you're in a short period of sleep time, you do not want to hit that. Yeah, this is more just a time for you to calm your brain, kind of, to rest, not to go into a deep sleep. And often people will say, oh gosh, if I take a nap, I feel horrible after it. Well, that's probably because you're getting into that deep, deep non-REM sleep and having a hard time coming out of that. And that's why you'll feel groggy for the rest of the day. So set that timer and maybe start with 30 minutes and see how it goes. But that's what I've been told. I don't think that study has changed. If anyone finds anything out that's different, I'd love to know, but I've stuck with that. And I generally try not to nap during the day just because, but there's days where I need it. And if I don't nap, I just try and get to bed earlier that day or that night. So we talked about designing a pre-bedtime routine. Wind down at least 30 minutes before you are to go to sleep. Lower your lights and disconnect. Get off the blue light. I don't care if you have blue light glasses on, get off all of that. Get your mind into a place that is calming and your brain and your eyes aren't flickering all over the place. Lower those lights, make the room conducive for sleep. Daytime habits to help you sleep better. As I mentioned, get outside, see the light. Even in the winter, get out there, get whatever light you can get. Movement, walk, whatever movement you can get will help you sleep better at night. Monitor caffeine intake. I don't know about you, but after 2 o'clock, forget it. If I have caffeine, a little bit, I will be up late at night. I know some people aren't affected by it, but if you are having a hard time getting to bed at night, just try and take that later caffeine out of your body and see how that helps. Be mindful of alcohol. Alcohol may help you fall asleep faster, but it does not make you sleep well. It actually will have you doing that more jiggity jaggedy sleep pattern that I told you means that you may have a sleep issue. But if any of you have had a night of drinking, you'll be waking up at 3 a.m, not ready to rock and roll, but wide awake, because by then all the sugar and the alcohol is out of your body and your body thinks it's time to get up. So alcohol is not helpful for staying asleep and sleeping well. Eating too late, going to bed on a full stomach doesn't make us sleep well. Don't smoke for many reasons, but it also doesn't help with your sleep. And then reserving your bed for sleep, trying not to do work in bed, trying not to needlepoint, or trying not to do to watch TV in bed. Reserve it specifically for sleeping. If you have trouble sleeping after trying these things, try relaxation techniques. I know we've talked about in our webinars before about Insight Timer, my favorite. I listen to it every night. I do. I put it on my phone. I know I turn my phone on to silence. I only allow my family to come through my ringer. And I put Insight Timer on to help me calm my brain. And they have sleep music in here. Some drives me crazy, but a lot is very calming. There's also the Calm app, or even if you have Spotify, they have sleep playlists. Don't stew it in bed. That sounds like my mom. I've had this happen too, where you start, oh my gosh, you're laying in bed and you start thinking about all the things you have to do or you didn't do or the worry you have. And so you just sit there in bed and your brain is going and going. I've tried a few things where I actually have a notepad by my bed and I write it down to get it off my brain. I've also gotten up. And my mom actually used to do this and it helps. So in my house growing up, we had this marble, I don't know if it was really marble, but a floor in our entryway and it was cold. And so she would often go walk on that and get it cold so that when she got into bed, she could get all cozy. So I'll get up and walk. Maybe I'll even step outside, do something to try and get out of that mode of the brain just going over the worries and the concerns you have. Play around with different approaches to sleep, meaning the time you go to bed and the time you wake up. Play around with it. Like if you're having a hard time waking up in the morning, or you're waking up too early, back it up and say, okay, if I want to get 7 hours of sleep and I want to wake up at, at 6:30, then I should go to bed at 11:30 or, or hour earlier than that. Keep a sleep diary. That's a great way. You can actually do it with your phone, with your watch, right? Or with your phone. I actually have on my phone a setting for my sleep, and it will tell me and it'll alert me, time to go to bed. And then I'll know if I got to bed later than my phone said. So keeping a sleep diary will help, and talking to your doctor to see if you do have any sleep issues that maybe they could help you with. Another thing we have talked about too, when you are having those nights of not being able to go to sleep and your mind is racing, is doing the 4-7-8 breathing technique. And maybe we could do that with us. We'll do that right now. I'm going to show you. So you're going to breathe in for 4, you're going to hold for 7, and you're going to release for 8. So let's do it. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Do that 3 times. Don't do it any more than that. You might get lightheaded. Diaphragmatic breathing is putting those, I do this at night. I'll put my hand on my chest, one hand on my chest, one hand on my belly. I breathe in, making sure that belly rises, not my chest, my diaphragm, that whole belly area is rising. And then I exhale and let that stomach area and everything collapse. Boxed breathing. I sometimes like doing this more than I do the 4-7-8 because it's easier. It's 4 by 4 by 4. It's easier to remember. So you inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. So I guess it's 4, 4, 4, little boxed. That helps too. So those are just some techniques to help you calm your brain, calm your body, and be ready for sleep. Do you have a sleeping disorder? I think we could all say that we may or may not, but if this has been going on for some time, you may. Difficult falling or staying asleep, daytime fatigue, strong urge to take naps during the day, like every day. You can't help it. You need to nap several times a day. Unusual breathing patterns where you're at night, you notice you're breathing different. If your legs, I know people who have restless leg. In fact, they thought my son had this. You have these urges to move at night, or you find yourself kicking and moving your legs a lot at night. That is not a normal process of sleep. So please be on the lookout for that. Changes to your sleep and wake cycle that are dramatic. Irritability or anxiety that are consistent. Your performance at work is suffering. You cannot concentrate, weight gain, and depression. It's that depression is kind of a catch-22, right? If we're depressed, we can sleep a lot, but sometimes that depression can mask itself as anxiety and we don't sleep. So again, just be aware of it, be cognizant of how you're feeling, and take note. And if you have any questions, I am here to answer them. I hope this gave you a little insight into how sleep is so important to us all, how our bodies do sleep, and how it is, despite what our society says, you're not going to get a gold star for not getting your rest. In fact, I've gotten to the point where people aren't resting and getting enough sleep and priding themselves on only sleeping 5 hours a night. I kind of think, well, that's not so great. You really, if you want to do something that you can control and do for your own health, it would be making sure your sleep is on par, because once that happens, things in your life can look a little rosier. You'll eat a little better, because when we're tired, again, don't know about you, but when I'm tired, I tend to go for the sugary foods, the high fat carb foods, so that I can get some energy. So sleep is a good place to start. And if anyone has any questions, I'm here. I have the chat box open. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. This will be recorded and put on our YouTube page, so feel free to look at it there. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Try and get outside and get a walk in this beautiful weather. It's New England, so we never know how long it's going to last. Thank you.